Okay, speaking of that, we got to talk about Ukraine then. Speaking of stupid generals to keep alive, that's great. Let's change gears to that. You were the first Western CEO to visit Zelensky in Ukraine. I thought that was a very bold thing to do. It was very, very cool. You went over there very quickly. Can you paint a picture of Ukraine's capabilities pre and post Palantir?
In the Ukraine stuff, I have to be super general,
Okay.
both because every government, but first of all, and again, this is what I should say, but it also is true. The Ukrainians are courageous in a way that it's almost unfathomable when you're sitting here. Like, you meet people who are going into battle. The Ukrainian people, and I realize there's a lot of debate in our country, and I welcome debate as like a kind of very much on the side of the First Amendment and kind of all the way up to, it being as expansive as it can be.
We used to have this debate inside of Palantir, by the way, early on a lot of issues, right? So that's something it was always part of the culture.
The right to express yourself, including things that will upset other people, is core to a functioning democracy. Yeah. And, the fact that you're being offended shows you're living in a democracy.
Yeah.
And that's, I try to empathize with the other side of that issue. Because I think you have to steel man all these arguments. But in the end, once you, the rights you give up will be used against you. Yeah. And that's something that, it does place a high burden on people who have to listen to speech that they find offensive. And I engage all the way to the margin and if engage with people whose speech I find offensive. And I talk to all sorts of people in all sorts of small rooms where, by the way, there's a bobcat behind you.
Oh, wow.
A really nice.
That's a cool bobcat.
You guys should get that on film.
That's from the national.
That is
park.
Nuts.
Alex always lives in the most interesting areas. See how this cool wildlife. Look at it! Wow.
That is it's like a mini tiger.
Wow. That is. Have you seen that here, Lutz?
It's here to honor you, Joe. I've never seen it before.
It's a good omen for us, Alex.
There.
In Ukraine, you went to these people, saw people in small rooms.
So they usually, when you go, I've spent 20 years going to important institutions of all kinds, and there is often, but not always, a moment where you're in a small room with someone, and they're like, "Yeah, but the truth is, I don't agree with so and so. I don't believe. I think my leader is beyond or something."
Yeah.
There was none of that. Like the amount of kind of deep patriotism, and again, I'm talking about all sorts of people. I like talking to people, quite frankly, who are unimportant. So I have a kind of honor to meet lots of important people.
And this is not because they're afraid of expressing a different viewpoint. It's
the Ukrainians are. It is not a place where people are particularly afraid of expressing any viewpoint. You are going to hear a lot of free speech. They are fighting because they believe, and you can debate a lot of things, and there's a healthy debate about the Ukraine war in this country, but I can tell you from my experience on the ground, these people are fighting, and they are willing to fight. And, at a general level, without going into details, some of the places that have used our product have been bombed. People have died. And the same day, those people are back at work.
Wow.
Same day. It's like, and they're also very, very technical.
At a high level, what's Palantir able to do that other systems are not able to do?
So Palantir is useful for the Ukraine. Some of it's, the part that's public is obviously documenting war crimes, but war crimes are hard to document because of data protection issues, to take it to court, where the evidence come from, who's touched it, chain of custody issues. So that's kind of, we're doing. Understanding who's doing what on the other side is a classic use case for PG. So how is the adversary, how as a matter of theory, you can just go through the products. So there's a kind of the civilian prosecution, there's in the PG Foundry Constellation, there's an ability to understand what the adversary is doing, kind of with their operatives, who's doing what, is doing it, with segmented data access, which is crazy important in the war. But it's funny is that people don't understand you need segmented or high data protection because the knowledge that these people have is so valuable, meaning people will die if it gets out, that you have to control who sees what. Gaia, meaning who is it will allow you on the battlefield to be able to see where in real time, what plan out your battle, attack, retreat, understand the adversary. And then the most powerful use of our product currently, and again, of one of our products, is being able to identify an adversary over a large line mass using AI. And that obviously it's been reported has led to a different level of ability to acquire the adversary's position.
Yep.
And there are so many lessons that we need to learn in this country, and we'll learn. But one of the obvious lessons is we are in a software world. It was the case that this was the ramblings of a couple people 20 years ago that people didn't think should have been in this business, including you and me and our other co-founders and early employees. It's just a banality. And the other thing is our adversaries now are awake. China and Russia realize this. They didn't realize it before.
Yeah.
And that is going to change where they invest their money. And we'll give them ability to catch up if we're not on top of this.
Well, this was a thesis 20 years ago. Is this would clearly become by far the most important part of the defense world, which it seems to have become now. It's a little scary that they're aware of it too, but it's nice to have a lead for now. Zooming out a little bit,